What's the best piece of money advice you've ever received? Who taught it to you and what did you learn?
Yeah, so I was deep in debt, 24 grand in debt, sitting on a beach in Vietnam, paid for by a credit card to get there. And a friend of mine turned around to me and literally asked me this one question, and I now tell it to a lot of other people because it changes your way of thinking. It's essentially...
Hello everyone, welcome to this week's episode of the Mr MoneyJar show. This week we are joined by Sammie King, a good friend of mine and the founder of Up the Gains, the website and podcast and all-round personal finance platform. Today we're going to be talking about how to set up and run a side hustle. Side hustles come up a lot in my conversations with people and online, both as a way to make an additional income, but also to do something that you enjoy, just to monetize something you enjoy. Sammie is a very accomplished businessman in his own respects. He quit his job to start Up the Gains and he now runs it full time, and he's going to be sharing his expertise with us today. I can't wait for you to listen to today's episode. So let's get into it. You're tuned into the Mr MoneyJar show. It's showtime. How are you doing, Sammie?
Hey, Timmy, I'm good. Thanks, man.
Awesome. Thank you very much for coming today. Really looking forward to getting into this conversation. I think this is a conversation that's going to help a lot of people, particularly given the times we're living in, the economic times, the cost of living crisis. But before we get into that, do let us know who you are and what you do.
Yeah, sure. My name's Sammie King. I'm the founder of Up the Gains. We're a personal finance channel which helps people. Basically, my slogan is helping Britain become financially fit. Up in the gains, probably need to do some of that myself. But, but yeah, no, that's really what we do. We have a website, a YouTube channel, social media channels, and a podcast too. So yeah, just trying to hit people wherever they're at and wherever they learn and consume. And yeah, that's what we're doing. We're on about 2 years into the journey at the moment. Yeah,
that was going to be my next question. How long you've been doing it for? So you built all that, because we were talking before this episode about how it's an affiliate marketing website. So you've built that from the ground up in 2 years.
Yeah.
And okay, cool.
A lot of 5 a.m. starts and 1 a.m. finishes whilst working a job as well. It's been tough. I'll be really honest, but I believed in it so much, and I wanted my message to get out there, and I knew the website and building that side of stuff was going to be the hardest bit and the longest bit. So I just got stuck in, man.
Today we're going to be talking about how to build a side hustle. It's very topical in the times we're in. I'm sure that there are many people listening to this who maybe even if they don't want to quit their job, they're just looking for ways to increase their income. And I find that the word side hustle is kind of thrown around quite a lot. And, over the course of conversation, I'd love to get into some specifics, some measurables, how you managed to build this in such a short space of time and some of the things you've achieved as well. So yeah, what 3 things would you like people to learn from this conversation as it develops?
Yeah, the term side hustle can mean various things. It doesn't have to be, your main income source or building a business. It can just be something on the side which generates you a bit of cash, and you can be creative with that. And I feel, second thing for me would be about building wealth. I think how to do that and having the confidence to do that in yourself. I believe that anybody can do that. Doesn't matter where you're from, what background you have, what current financial situation you find yourself in. There are steps that you can always take, and there is a ladder, and it's just about hopping on and trying not to, fall down too many steps. You all fall down 1 or 2 here and there. It's just standard, 101 of life, really. So that's, for me, is really important. And the third one is, is have a why, and starting with why. So actually we touched on that last, but I really do believe that a lot of people kind of breeze through life. I've actually got a video coming out about this. I asked a lot of people on our mailing list what financial freedom meant to them. Majority of the answers were sip cocktails on a beach, sit on a beach. What does that actually mean? And where does that come from? And what's the feeling that sits behind that? Because that's actually your why. And unpacking that and really taking that away really gives you a reason to do a side hustle, to invest, to look after your kids financially, gives you a why, and it helps you in so many different aspects of life. And so that's what I think is really important.
Wicked. Okay, so how to start a side hustle, how to build wealth, and how to find out your purpose, essentially. Let's get into it. So take us from the beginning, because you're working on this full-time now, but how did you approach, like what was your job, and how did you approach doing something in addition to your job to bring in extra money?
It's a great question. I think, like, harking back, I studied music technology at university. I then went into the hospitality industry. I've always started businesses. I founded a club night back in the day, which was live music led with a bit of DJs in. That was my first foray into running a business when I was 18. But I was lost, really. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was lost as a person, as in keeping up with the Joneses. So I took on loads of consumer debt. I always did very well in work. I moved up from sort of exec level in a marketing role in hospitality companies to director level, eventually becoming part owner before I left to do Up the Gains. So it's been a long road for me. But yeah, I only really found myself kind of mid to late 20s, and that was already too late in terms of consumer debt. I had over £24,000 in credit card debt, and managed to teach myself everything I needed to know about personal finance and money, and just understanding the game, really. And that took as a really tough 18 months. But I was doing very well at work. So I had a good base of salary, which allowed me to get out of debt a lot quicker than perhaps that would have taken that amount for other people. And I totally understand that. But still a long road. And what I picked up from there is, helping people, and then started helping family, friends, etc. And that really kind of drove the idea behind Up the Gains, was helping people. And actually that filled up my heart a lot more than sending people, pissed in an Uber home from a venue or a nightclub that we owned or ran. So COVID came, and all of a sudden I realized that I wasn't who I wanted to be, or where I wanted to be. And the idea of the business was sitting inside of me, and I was helping people. And I was just like, I need to do this. I need to amplify this feeling of helping people and giving back what I know, because I went so deep into that financial rabbit hole and read every book and course, etc. going. And I felt like there wasn't really anyone that I could find at the time coming to, meet the financial community that we all are a part of now. I realized that there are more people, but back then it was very difficult to find them. And it felt like there wasn't really anybody representing my age group at the time that I could really sort of tap into. You had your Martin Lewis's, etc., which was, who are fantastic at what they do. But I felt there was a really lack of a spokesperson for, the millennial Gen Z type people out there. I've come to find that there's lots of them now, but yeah, at the time there wasn't really, I could find anything to really sort of put my hat on. So yeah, I jumped in feet first with a business, and yeah, the road is long, the road is hard, but we're here now. So
I know this is a really captain obvious question, but how do you start a business?
Really simply,
I'm asking this for the people that are listening to this, are earning in their day job, but it's like you're trading time for money in your day job, which is absolutely fine. I'm not one of those people that bashes paid employment. I think paid employment is really important. It makes up the majority of workers in this country. But they're working a day job, they're earning a set wage, and then they're like, look, I just want to make more money. Karen being told that I need to increase my income and that I need to have multiple streams of income, all this stuff, all these phrases that get thrown around.
Yeah.
How do I actually do that? How do I practically, like if I was shown like a cookbook almost, like of how to do this, like how do I do that?
Well, it harps back to what you said. It's really important. Like, if you actually enjoy what you do, but you just want to create more income, you're not then trying to create a business, you're trying to create more income to supplement your current job. So that's where the term for me, side hustle, gets banded around in the wrong way, because a side hustle essentially is your side piece to your main thing. That's what it essentially means if you look at the actual phrase. But people talk about building a side hustle up to overtake your income. And yes, that can happen. But for me, a side hustle is, you're doing a few things on the side to earn a bit more money to supplement your life, whether that be pay for your, cover the cost of living pay for an extra holiday, get that dog that you always wanted to. What is your why? What you got to then ask yourself why you're doing it as well, to put that time in to create that effort. I really do believe that. So starting a business, first paramount number one is you have to solve a problem for an individual with a product. Now that product can either be digital based, it can be physical, i.e., I bake cakes to solve people that want to have a sweet treat. I create a digital product in finance to teach people about investing, whatever that might well be, a digital product to teach people how to grow their Instagram following. We've all seen them out there and they do very well. And because they're solving a problem for somebody who's trying to get to that goal. And that's really what a business does. If you look at every single business on the planet, they're solving an issue and providing something or a need for a necessity. And so that's what you've got to start with. And then you can go through the motions about how you're going to take that to market and really kind of amplify and make that happen through sales and marketing and distribution, et cetera, from there.
Yeah. And I feel like the best businesses in the world really have a sense of the problem they're solving and who they're solving that problem for. And company that always comes to mind for me is McDonald's. McDonald's is clearly not trying to make the best burger in the world, but they know, for example, that like if you're on a road trip and you've got like 3 kids in the back, you go to McDonald's, you go through the drive-through, you know exactly what you're going to get, and like everyone's happy. Equally, just like harken back to your point about like being pissed after the club, like everyone knows where they're going at like 2-3 a.m. Right. McDonald's is full, and it's like they know the problem that they're solving, and it's a very different problem to what a more high-end restaurant might be solving as well. Exactly. But the key is to know it. How do you know which problems to solve and which problems to just leave alone? Because there are millions of problems in the world. It's been bandied about a lot recently that 66% of businesses fail in the first 3 years. That's not actually true. It's actually 18.4%. And that number is being skew-whiffed. And when you look at the way that the press have laid this out, even when you look at the 18.4, they say a whopping 18.4. A whopping 18.4, that's less than 1 in 5. So yes, 1 in 5 ideas are going to be bad ideas. It's just a natural way of things. Like we've all come up with wacky ideas at the end of the day. Whether we've seen them through, we've probably told ourselves, hey, hang on a sec. Is that actually a good idea? We've all had that like, oh, there should be an app for that. There should be this. And we've all done that. But you'll know. I believe that you'll know. It came to me like literally singing. I was like, I've got to go and do this. There's nothing like this. Let me go and build it. And I believe that's what you got to do. You got to listen to your gut. And look, if you go and fail forward, you've learned something along the way. You've learned how to create a business, set something up, and you can go and put those skills. And perhaps your second idea flies like fantastic. Like you've gone and made that, and your first failures have then made what your second business has then become. So, I believe that's kind of similar to yourself. Like you had an app, and now you've made Mr MoneyJar into a business, and that's kind of yeah. So in both of my businesses, my first one was called Luna. I ran it for a year, and it was an app. Thinking about it was sort of a precursor to buy now, pay later, because the idea was that you would manage all your monthly payments in there, but also turn kind of one-off expenses into manageable monthly payments as well. So cool. I'm kind of happy that didn't like take off any further. But for both businesses, both Luna and Mr MoneyJar, it was helping people out with their money. I'll be honest with you though, I don't really know what problem I solve with Mr MoneyJar. I still don't know what problem I'm solving, which is like a pretty crazy thing to say because I'm doing it for 4 years. But I think when it comes to what we do, it can be difficult to know who's the customer. Is the customer the brand? Is the customer the social media user? And like, what's almost the journey and stuff? And then also you're like on social media posting stuff for people, and not everyone will see it. And on social, like your audience is kind of rented. So I'm still trying to figure out product market fit. In many ways, I don't even feel like I've really gotten started with my business.
The world is your oyster. Yeah. I really do believe that. Like for me, I've kind of, luckily, we didn't touch on this, but You know, I've done brand marketing. I've taken startups from zero to multi-million-pound businesses in the hospitality space. Actually, the same principles of marketing are relevant to any type of product. It's just how you go to market and who the user is, and how you identify how you're going to reach them. And that is really what's helped me with Up the Gains. I realized very quickly that people like to learn in different ways. Like I'm a visual learner, and now I also consume podcasts, but get me to read a 3,000 word blog, absolutely no chance. I can write it, but I can't read it. So how do I do that? So I've got to build a business around going to find all of these three people. So I've got to operate in video, I've got to operate a podcast, and I've got to operate a website. And that was how I went to market with it. Like knowing these things before you went out and started a business and jumped head first into it. I had to understand the basics first to take that. And sometimes you have to upskill yourself to learn these things. I didn't know how to build websites. I didn't know how to do SEO. I was the head of marketing. I had teams and agencies which went out and did that stuff for me and reported back. So to go out and do it myself was wild, man. I was in the trenches like day one, like, oh my God, like what have I done here? But if you want it enough, you will do it. And that's what I truly believe.
How did you upskill yourself?
Great question. I use YouTube, and I believe YouTube now you can pretty much learn any skill. You know, my friend taught himself like a full carpentry degree in COVID, and he is now making unbelievable furnitures and building music studios. So like, and he used YouTube, 99% of YouTube, and a little bit of theory from a book. And he's amazing at it. So YouTube's your best friend. I really do believe that. It's all free. You know, a lot of creators will give away their stuff for free. They'll sell it in a course because people feel legit. They'll go, or feel like they need a bit more touch point with that person. They'll go and buy the course. But most of the time they give a lot of it away for free. Equally as well, podcast interviews these days are hour long. That person just giving their mind and what is that person known for? They will just spill the beans. So write it all down, get it all together, create your own strategies and plans out of it. And you can really learn so fast that way. Which
YouTube channels did you check out specifically?
Yeah, so there's a couple in the kind of website building space called Niche Pursuits, which focuses on entrepreneurship. So if you're looking to start a blog, it's a fantastic side hustle. For me, it's a long, hard slog, but it can be extremely, extremely profitable. There's bloggers out there 2-3 years in doing, 30, 40 grand a month plus. And this road is pretty much mapped out for you using Niche Pursuits. It's a fantastic podcast. I really do love it. And then, learning about personal finance along the way. There's been some fantastic channels out there. I love Damien Talks Money. I think he's fantastic.
He was here last week.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Ah, there, cool. Yeah, he seems like a top guy, actually. I'd quite like to get him.
It's very funny.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Proper Manchester. His name's Birmingham, isn't he? Romy.
I think Manchester.
Yeah.
Or nearby.
Yeah. He's got that twang about him. And I really love his content. And, so learning from people like that and never stop learning. Like that's the way that I've become. I used to be quite closed off. I believe, in my early 20s, I was quite headstrong and going down a certain road, and then just actually realized that I needed to just change who I'd be and become a lot more open and just accepting that I don't know everything. It's quite hard to tell yourself that.
Cool. So identify a problem, figure out almost the things that you're going to need in your toolkit to solve that problem, upskill yourself, so that you can at least do a little bit of it. Because, the end goal will be to hire people and all of that. But in the beginning, you're doing what I'd like to call the entrepreneurial octopus. And you're kind of just doing everything at the same time. Okay, cool. And do you recommend that people build a business and work at the same time, or leave their job and pursue the business full time?
That's a great question. It really is a good question, because I feel like it very much depends. Like somebody in their early 20s living at home, that question is a very different question to somebody in their 40s with 2 kids and a mortgage. You've got to be very careful about how you balance those things out, because your responsibilities and your financial situation will look extremely different. So if you're doing, if you're the gentleman or lady in their 40s, trying to, or even 30s, with the responsibilities that you have to manage, you're going to need a safety net there to be able to make that jump and hopefully some sort of cash flow and things rolling. So yes, building that business alongside your 9 to 5 often is great. Like, this is why I think like blogging and YouTube channels and helping people and digital products are so great, because you can build those types of things at your own pace over a very long period of time by giving it 2, 4, 6 hours a week in your evenings and weekends, creating yourself a little bit of a time and watching that grow, because it is more than possible. And there's plenty of success stories of people that have grown at, and once it's creating enough revenue for you, you then have this decision to make. Only you'll know that, whether or not, you need to understand in yourself whether you're risk on or risk off. If you're risk on, you might do it with a few grand put away and you just go for it because you believe in yourself. Other people that are, I'm not taking that risk, probably put away a year's worth of salary to be able to struggle yourself through that time, because you don't want to change anything about your life and you have those commitments. So I think you need to ask yourself that first before you kind of make that decision. Yeah, building a business alongside your job is the first route.
I agree. My first company, I did the whole save money thing and then leave my job, and that was very, very stressful. That was a very stressful year. And, your business doesn't care how long you want it to succeed,
No.
how quickly you want it to succeed. And timing actually accounts for a lot of why businesses do succeed, along with, the founder and the sector that you go into. But like the actual physical time that you launch your business is also really important. Warren Buffett famously says that if he was born like earlier on in human history, he'd probably be eaten by a bear or something, because all he knows how to do is allocate capital. So I just always find that funny.
Yeah.
But what I found useful was, for my second business, doing it a much more sustainable route and going down to 4 days per week. And then working on my business 1 day per week and trying to replace 20% of my income rather than 100% of my income. I think that that's a far more sustainable way to build a business. And it also allows you to test and learn and do things at a much lower intensity than you're just peering into the void. And now you need to pay all your bills and your rent and your mortgage and stuff with this thing, which is literally just germinating, it's literally just growing.
That's exactly what I did. I went from 5 to 3.
Okay.
And then went down to almost like 1.5 at the end. And I was kind of actually just staying on at the end, really just to help them, because they didn't want to kind of give away everything or hire a brand new person at my level. And so, I that helped me massively. Took the stress off. Like I would have probably a few less grey hairs, but it was the right move. So I completely agree. If you can scale down to part-time, 100% do that.
We made 3 promises at the start of this episode, so I want to make sure that we come to the second 2. So how to start a business, we've covered. How to build wealth then, because presumably your business has got to pay you. And I remember when I first started, I wanted to, because I have, stuff that I dealt with at the time, but also still have to deal with around charging people money for things and being paid way more money now than I ever have been paid in my life to do stuff. So there's like internal work and stuff to do there. But I basically wanted to do everything for free. It's like I'm helping people with their money, so it's got to be for free. But that's not very sustainable, is it?
No.
So we set up businesses to build wealth for ourselves. I'm very interested to understand why you went down the affiliate marketing route. And actually, what is affiliate marketing? And then why did you go down the affiliate marketing route to build wealth for yourself?
Yeah, so affiliate marketing, simply put, is let's say you go onto a website and that site suggests a product. You then click on that product, which leads you to that brand's website. You then make that purchase based on that recommendation. You're then paid commission for that privilege, that sale. And that can operate in various niches, but essentially in finance, you're saying this is the best banking product for you. This is the best savings account, the best investing apps based on my experience. And you have to build trust up. And affiliate marketing is about building trust, but also about disqualifying people. So this isn't right for you. This is right for you. If you're this type of person, you need this type of account. And that can be then you're helping that person make that decision. Whether they go on to make that decision is then up to them. If they do make that decision, you're then paid for it. And so that's what I tapped into, because Google is a brilliant place, and it's founded many businesses on this planet, and it still does to this day drive 90% of my business's revenue. So I'm very grateful to Google for the opportunity to be able to rank a web page. Type in best investing apps and Up the Gains comes up, and you then make a decision. That's nuts to me. It was just nuts. The first time I heard that, I was like, you can actually do that. And it's been going around for years. Oh wow, I really need to catch up. But it opened my eyes, because affiliate marketing doesn't necessarily have to be in finance. You could be selling dog leads, you could be selling dog food. Your mind, there is an affiliates, fashion, travels, huge travel blogs, selling hotels and recommendations for trips, etc. You get paid for this type of stuff. So yeah, it's an extremely profitable area. There is a mindset, and you need a lot of skills to be able to deliver it. But if you can do it, it's a very profitable area of marketing for sure.
What affiliate portals are you on? AWin or Tap Affiliate or?
So I'm on AWin, Impact. Then the best is when you can go direct with the brand.
Yes.
And they have a form of dashboard, or a what's called a UTM link, which is a trackable link for them to then make that purchase, and you get an affiliate ID. So that person clicks and it tracks that with a number, and that person gets associated with that ID when they sign up. And then you're paid back for it. The best is if you can go direct with a brand, it's even better, because you'll get a solid rate and you're actually dealing with the brand. And often they'll have a campaign come out that come directly to you because you're working with them directly. And that's a really good look for you, especially if you've got traffic to a website or a social media channel or a YouTube channel. You can then talk to them about a sponsorship deal or a 3-month, section of videos that go into your YouTube channel, or sponsored, we've all seen it, sponsored by Huel, everywhere. That's all done for a reason. They're tapping into that audience base that they want to be in front of. So yeah.
What's the initial lift to build an affiliate marketing website? Because this is something I'm yet to do. And I know that it involves lots of articles and guides and stuff, because essentially you're building a website with useful information on it.
Yeah.
That like a review website is a good example of this. I use Tech Radar a lot, and that's your classic example where they give you, the handshake is they give you the useful information. This is the latest phone that's come out. These are the good points about the phone. These are the bad points about the phone.
Exactly.
And if you like what we've written, then click on this link, and then it takes you through to the website. What's the initial lift in terms of how much do you have to write to get started in an affiliate marketing website? Is there a certain amount that you need to have on your website before you start it? Or can you literally apply to the portal, get your UTM link, and then just start earning commission straight away?
So you need an audience of some size. So affiliate marketing doesn't necessarily have to be on a website. It can be on your social media channels if you build that up, or your YouTube channel. A lot of people do extremely well out of that. It's capturing an audience base and then funneling them in. So they're now in that funnel. They've come onto your guide. They've come onto your video. They've come onto your social media post. How are you getting them from there onto that link and then to make a purchase? The whole journey is you have to then make them trust you enough to then click onto that brand. But if you're selling an Apple product, it's like, click here to see the latest price on Apple. It's not like or click here to go to that brand website. They're not like directly transacting with you. They're transacting with the brand. You're just trying to make them feel more comfortable about that decision. So they're looking for best iPhone in 2023, or is the iPhone 14 better than 15?
Yeah, or there's been a huge price drop on this iPhone. You can get it on the Apple website at this price, and you click on the link. Yeah.
You're just feeding them the information. You're being a source and a guide really to them that they need, because they're not getting that information, or they're after that information from somewhere. So you're then the source of that information. So yeah, like going back to your original question, to build an affiliate website, there's probably, we've built the website up to like 400 sort of free guides, and within that there's informational content which leads into the affiliate content, and then there's a big best of guides. In finance, it's extremely competitive, as we all know. There's lots of people out there, and there's some extremely big players in the world. Martin Lewis's, your Nerd Wallets, etc., and they're all fighting for these spots. And so it is a bit of a war like that to try and get your page to rank, and then suddenly that they'll come straight back after you and outrank you by doing some technical stuff. It can get quite technical, but to answer your original question, I think 40 to 50 pages on a website, you should, if you're targeting what's called a long tail keyword, so a variation. So like best investing app is going to be extremely competitive, but best investing apps for beginners in London, this is an example, it's not going to be as competitive. And if you're the guy dedicated to that, then you're going to do very well.
How much can a person stand to make from an affiliate marketing business?
So the affiliate marketing, Martin Lewis sold his business for £86 million. So, and his business is 100% affiliate marketing. He doesn't do ads, famously doesn't do ads. He writes it on his forehead and puts it on his Twitter profile. So we've seen that. First time I saw that, I was like, what is he on about? But then I was like, right, oh yeah, got it. So that just goes to show Nerd Wallet is a public company. They're an affiliate marketing business. There are public companies out there that own portfolios of businesses. A good friend of mine, Will Blizz, he owns PC.com. And their business is 300 people in Manchester office. And so, yeah.
So this is where it gets really interesting for me, because as I said to you downstairs, I've been studying up on business a lot, and I've realized that I don't really have a business. What I have is a personal brand that I get, I get paid to speak, I get paid to post stuff. But if I was to stop working today, then all my income would dry up. But you don't have that. You actually have a website that you could continue to grow it. You could choose to put your face on it.
Yeah.
Or you could choose to remove it. No one necessarily needs to know who runs Up the Gains. And then you could sell that to a public company one day.
Yeah.
And you could just have a team of writers and researchers and all that sort of thing.
That's the plan.
That's what you had that in mind.
Yeah,
from the
yeah. The exit is like, I'm looking at an exit. You always, for me, when you start a business, you should always have an exit in mind. How are you eventually going to remove yourself from that equation? Unless you absolutely love it to your hilt, and then that's totally fine. Like what we were saying downstairs to me, like you've if you absolutely love that, you've got freedom. You run a business. You do run a business. You're paying yourself. You're the business. Without you, there's no other cog in that business. But that's totally cool, like, because you've got that freedom and that choice, and like, that's awesome. But as you say, if you do want to build it to, as in a brand, like Mr MoneyJar as a brand, then you will need to start developing assets around that to do that. But either is fine.
Yeah,
like, it's a choice that you will need to make along the way.
Let's manifest here right now.
All right, I'm in.
How much do you want to sell Up the Gains for, and by when?
Oh man, that's a big question. That's a big question.
I believe that anything that you can imagine in your head is possible.
Yeah. So I always said that I would never take less than £10 million.
Okay.
So that's what I have in my head. Basically, I'm building it. I want it to be a company that is running in multiple different areas and aspects, and actually truly helping people. And to do that, and to scale to that level, we will need revenue to come in. So, yeah. And look, and at the end of the day, yes, the goal harks back to helping people, but actually helping people can be a profitable endeavor too.
Of course. And you've got to help people.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what business is. Like, it's solving problems for people, as you said. If you don't help people, but you make money, that house of cards has got to topple at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
Then, you've made all this money. There's still problems in the world. And there's a lot of problems in the world. There's a lot of like really bad ones too. So that can't go on indefinitely.
Completely agree with you, man. Completely agree with you. And as we both know, there's such a big issue with financial literacy in this country that we've got a lot of work to do. And it can't be done. I can't do that on my own. Like, I need the help of everybody else and the other amazing financial creators and the hopeful people that we do hire for our businesses, and that's going to help more people. And that's the mission. Because if we solve that problem, then not just us, our lives get better as well, exponentially better, because more people investing into the market means the markets go up. So my own investments go up too.
Yeah,
so it's,
absolutely.
That's the way we need to look at it.
Absolutely. We need to think more big picture, like you're saying. We can make loads of money off people's lack of financial education and make loads of money off like interest from people's credit cards, like debts basically, or we can make money off people's investment fees. We're making money either way, but like I would much rather make money because people's wealth is increasing rather than because people are like in debt and stuff.
100%. Rising tides like raises
lifts all boats, 100%. And yeah, in terms of the third promise, although I think that we made for this episode, I think you've touched on it a few times, your why. Your why is helping people essentially.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's I have 3 whys, and they are creativity, positivity, and energy. And to do that, I need a business, and money is the vehicle within that business. And I want to be creative, and I want to be positive, and I want people around me with the right energy. So to be able to have those 3 things, I need the business to do well. I need my family and my friends to support me and have a good network and a good unit and be positive. And to do that, often money is the vehicle there to make that happen. So I want to be free, and those are the 3 things that I focus in on, and then everything else stems out from that point. So that's my why. And so it's not sitting on a beach with a pina colada, or, I just want to retire and be free. There's a reason.
Early retirement doesn't make any sense anyway.
Doesn't, no. I never got it.
It is the least scalable plan ever. Because if everyone retires early, you go to the supermarket and there's just no one behind the till because they've retired early. And you're like, oh, okay, let me get the bus driver's retired early. I've broken my leg. Well, the doctor's retired early. If everyone's just sipping pina coladas on the beach, there's no stuff. There's literally that.
Someone's got to give them the pina colada.
That means, yeah, yeah, exactly. The glass the pina colada comes in. Human creativity, human enterprise, everyone being able to work on their own superpower in the economy to have that rising tide effect is the whole point. It's not to escape. That's what I said on your podcast when you very kindly had me on. People, the word work has been demonized because people hate their jobs, because earning money has been tied to human survival. So of course you're going to resent it when like you have no choice. You're like, well, if I don't do this thing for 8, 9, 10 hours a day, then I won't be able to feed myself. So of course it's perfectly reasonable that you'll go on to hate that thing. But like, no, the idea is that everyone has the creativity, the fun, the freedom that you're speaking about. So they can actually spend most of their time, the limited time that we have on earth, doing what it is they're actually meant to do, like what they're actually good at.
100%.
And I can tell that from everything you're saying to me that you really mean it, like that truly is your why. And I'm sure you'll achieve everything and more. Like you started with the end in mind. I did not. This is an accident. When you see me on ITV News, I'm like, do they know that like I don't know what I'm doing? I'm doing a lot of things for the first time.
Shh, don't tell anyone, man.
And like, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And I'm really grateful to everyone for being, believing me and like inviting me to stuff. But
to me, I said it to you when I met you, like when I sat there and listened to your presentation, like the way you explained stuff for me was like the best that I had ever seen. So you do have to give yourself a lot of credit because, you've come this far, and, having these types of conversations with people like yourself is amazing. And hopefully it helps other people and inspires other people to make change as well. And that's what we need.
Thank you. Likewise, man. Before we wrap up, there's a question we like to ask everyone. And it's, what's the best piece of money advice you've ever received? Who taught it to you and what did you learn?
Yeah, so I was deep in debt, 24 grand in debt, sitting on a beach in Vietnam, paid for by a credit card to get there. And a friend of mine turned around to me and literally asked me this one question, and I now tell it to a lot of other people because it changes your way of thinking. It's essentially, when do you want to retire as such, or when do you want to be financially free? How long do you want to take to get that to that point? And how much do you spend a year now in your life right this second? So my number, let's just say £30,000 as an example. And I don't want to do much past the age of 50, but I live to, how long do you live for? So another 30 years. So 30 times 30, it's £900,000. Do you have that right now? The answer is no. So, okay, so then none of those things are going to happen. So then how do you then realize and work towards that goal? That's your goal. Like, okay, you need that amount of money to be able to be financially free. That's what you've got to go out and do. And that was a big stark realization for me because I was minus 24. So nowhere near, not even at zero. So I had a lot of work to do. So that changed my life, that question that you asked me.
Your financial freedom number, essentially.
Yeah, it was just like, do you have that? Because we're all like, oh yeah, I don't want to work past 50. I don't want to work past 55. Like we all. I've heard millions of people say this, but the actual reality of that is that number. You need a number, and do you have that? Mm-hmm. And if the answer is no, then you need to go out and work out how you're going to get to that point. So whether you're investing, whether you're starting businesses, etc., to get yourself to that point, you then need to train yourself and learn the ways of getting to that point.
Nice. I like that advice a lot. Thanks for coming on, Sammie.
It's been a pleasure.
I think you're a very formidable business person. I hope the people listening to this go to your website, click on some links. And I hope, please do. And I really look forward to following your journey. I know that you have a plan and I know that you're going to see it through.
Thanks, man.
For people who want to find you, where can they find you?
Yeah, upthegains.co.uk. We're Up the Gains Money on every single social platform going. Come say hi wherever you consume content. And we also have a podcast as well, the Money Gains podcast. And you can come listen to Timmy's interview. It's a pretty sick one.
Nice. Thanks for coming on, Sammie.
Appreciate it, man.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for watching this week's episode of the Mr MoneyJar Show. If you enjoyed it, then please do subscribe as it helps out the show a lot and enables us to continue running. Anyway, we'll be back next week with another special guest. I've been your host, Timmy Merriman Johnson.